Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to my channel, Yo Math Bro. Today, we are going to learn about a very interesting and a very easy topic in mathematics, straight line graph. Graph plays a very important role in your maths paper. So, around 30 to 40% marks are dedicated for straight line graph. But today, we are going to do this video into two parts. This is the first part in which we are going to learn about the basics of graph, points, and other things. Okay, so let us start with the first question, finding the coordinates. So if you can see on the screen, there are various points marked and they are asking the coordinates of certain points. So let us start with the first question. They say which point has the coordinates 3, 0. Now, my dear students, first of all, let us understand what does this 3, 0 means. 3, 0 means the position of this point is 3 units from the x-axis and 0 unit on the y-axis. So the first point to remember is the first number is always the x coordinate and the second number is always the y coordinate. As here y coordinate is 0, that means the point lies on x-axis. So one very important point to remember here is that if the y coordinate is 0, then the point lies on the axis, that is x-axis. Remember. So look at x-axis, we can see here point B is lying on x-axis. The first answer we get is a B. Look at the second question. Which point has the coordinates -5, 4? Now here first thing, always students write down, first will be the x coordinate and second will be the y coordinate. Now how I find? This is our x axis. So from here I take -5. What I do? I draw a line. And then comes 4 on y axis. Let us check here. So I can draw a line here also. And I can draw a line here also. But which line is intersecting? Here I had on the right hand side I got only one line, but here I can see the intersection which is at point G. So the coordinates of G is, that means the position of G is -5 on x-axis and 4 on y-axis. So my second answer is G. Now if I ask you, my dear students, write the coordinates of point C. So always what you have to do, first check from point C, draw a line which touches the x-axis. So here you can see from the point C, if I draw the line to x-axis, I get -4. And now I will continue the line till it reaches the y-axis. And here if you can see, it is touching the y-axis at -2. So the coordinates of point C is -4, 2. One more drill. Let us check out the intersection, that is the point of intersection for this E. How the lines are intersecting. So first I draw the line towards the x-axis. Now one thing, remember my dear kids, first point you have to always check for the x-axis, because we always write the x coordinate first. In alphabets also, when you had learned in your childhood, in ABCD, x comes first. So x has been given this priority. So for point E, my first point is 5 comma. Now let us check where it meets the y-axis. I continue this line. Here it meets the y-axis at -4. So the position of E on the graph is 5, -4. Now they have asked us to plot a point 2, -3 and label that as point H. So first write down x will be 2 and y will be -3. So I'll search x axis has 2 here. So what I do with a pencil, please draw the line up and down because you don't know where it is going to lie as we are in the initial stage of learning graph. Now on y coordinate we have -3. So I join this line y at -3. So if you look here, this is the position where both the line of x is equal to 2 and y is equal to -3 joins. This point becomes our point H. If you want, you can draw this line, or else you can just mark it x 2 and y -3. So after a certain time, you will get a judgment as to where the point lies. This is how we got the first step of identifying the coordinates, and with the help of coordinates, how to draw the point. Let us check the second question. What they say, write down the coordinates of point A. Now without drawing the line, let us check whether point A, you can see it is intersecting at x-axis. If I draw an imaginary line, it will intersect at 3. And if I go towards y, it will intersect at 2. So my answer for A is 3, 2. I hope you guys have understood. If not, just do comment me and I will answer your questions. They are saying write down the coordinates of point B. So let us check where the point B lies. It is lying on x-axis. If you see, it is lying at -2. And at y-axis, it is lying at -1. Be careful. Once you draw the line, you cannot see the minus sign, but you can always erase and get the answer. Now they say the third one, question C, plot a point 0, 2 and label it point C. First step, 0, 2, you will write first will always be the x coordinate, second will be y coordinate. As we don't have x coordinate, as it is 0, I know if the x coordinate is 0, the point lies on y-axis. So I will search 2 on y-axis. And if I see 2 on y-axis is here, this will be my point C. So from this example, what I see that if x coordinate is 0, the point will lie on y-axis. And if this was a reverse question, if y coordinate is 0, the point lies on x-axis. Let me mark it as F. So for C, 0, 2 lied on y-axis, and for point F, because y-axis was 0, the point is lying on the x-axis. Okay. Let us come to the D part. Plot the point -3, 1. Label the point D. So first step is to write x, y, label it as the point D. So -3 on x-axis is somewhere here and 1 on y-axis is somewhere here. So if I join it, -1 and 3, they join it somewhere here. If you are still not comfortable, you can always draw the line and check, my dear students. Mathematics is all about proving and writing the answer with proof. You can easily draw the line and get the answer. So these were the two questions by which we can easily find out the coordinates. Now we come to the most important part, gradient. Now there are two ways to find the gradient, my dear students. I'll be taking up both the example, but this is the first type. Okay, first type of finding the gradient. Okay, now let me join the line AB. If I join the line, this forms a graph AB. Okay, this is a line graph. Now, the general equation for any line on the graph is written by the formula y is equal to mx plus c. Why I am teaching you this? Because it is going to be useful in the coming sums. The general equation, it's like a formula for the line. This line has always a general formula y is equal to mx plus c. But what is the meaning? This y stands for y coordinates, remember. And here this x also stands for the x coordinates. What is m here? M is called as the gradient, my dear students. And what is c here? C here is called as the y-intercept. I'll explain. When I do this sum, I'll explain you broadly what do they actually mean in practical sense. But you need to remember this. Y stands for y coordinates, M stands for gradient, X stands for the X coordinate, and C stands for the Y intercept. But here in this question, if you see, my dear students, they have just asked gradient. So this is the first formula which you have to remember. And the second formula which you have to remember for gradient, I am going to denote here by M. It is called as y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. This is the formula you need to use for finding the gradient. So they can ask you gradient by drawing the line graph, or they can ask you the gradient by giving you two coordinates. Okay, so look here, what you have to do now, as we have two pairs of points A and B, you can take this as, I have told you, x and y. This is also x and y, as I taught you in the earlier sum. But now, since we are finding out gradient, I will denote the first one as x1, y1 and second one as the x2, y2. Doesn't matter, kids, if you are keeping this as x1, y1 and this as x2, y2, still you will get the same answer for the gradient, because eventually we are taking both the points. But for my reference, I have taken this as x1, y1 and this as x2, y2. But you can do it in a reverse order. Now let me substitute. My y2 here is 6. Minus is in the formula. And then here y1 is 1. So if I want, I can draw the bracket, or else not required. So 6 minus 1 divided by x2 here again is 6 minus, but x1 here, my dear students, is minus 4. What I do here, I put it in the bracket. When there was no minus sign, I just wrote it like how I have written here 1. But as there is minus sign in the coordinate, I will always write it as minus 4 in the bracket. So 6 minus 1 is 5. Minus into minus gives me plus. So this becomes 6 plus 4. That is 10. I divide it, I get 0.5. So I have got the gradient as 0.5. This is how you get the gradient. One more question they have asked for gradient. My dear students, always start your answer with the formula. M is y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. Here, this will become x1 y1 and this will become x2 y2. So I substitute. Y2 is 22 minus y1 is 4, x2 is 7 and x1 is 1. So I get 22 minus 4 gives me 18. 7 minus 1 gives me 6. Both of them divided gives me 3. So here m is equal to 3. In this case, m was 0.5. Here m is 3. This is how you get the gradient. Okay. Now comes the part in which we are going to use the formula y is equal to mx plus c. When they just ask you gradient, this will be your formula. And when they ask you equation of the line, like this they have asked in this question, you will use the formula y is equal to mx plus c. As I told you, we have two ways by which we can find the equation of the line. First part is when they give you coordinates, and second part is when they have given you the graph. Both of them we are going to learn in this video today. Okay, so just have patience and concentrate. Give your 100%. When you are listening to this video, your concentration should be 100% because I am teaching you very slowly, and even if you are unable to understand, you can just rewind this video and watch it once again. So I'm sure that once or twice when you watch this video, your concepts about basic straight line graph will be pretty clear. Okay, now I'm going to show you step by step, and this is the same exact method which you are going to use in your board exam. Okay, let us check. First, always write the coordinates. -3, 5, 1, -15. This will be x1, this will be y1, this will be x2, this will be y2. So if I want to find the equation, I should know two things. I should know m and I should have the value of c. So I'm just writing it besides m is equal to and c is equal to. Once I get the answer, let's see what we do. First, as I told you, m stands for gradient. The formula for gradient is y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. I get y2 is -15 minus 5 and x2 is 1 minus, again I am getting x1 as -3. So as I told you, you will always put it in bracket. I get -15 minus 5 gives me -20 divided by minus into minus plus 1 plus 3 gives me 4, and I get the answer as -5. So I am writing it here, -5. So this is my first step where I write the coordinates. This is my second step where I find the gradient. Now comes the third step. What I do, I divide this page into two parts. Okay, this is the third part. What I do now, please listen to it carefully. What I do, I write the equation for the first time. Y is equal to mx plus c. As I had told you earlier, y stands for y coordinate, m stands for gradient, and x stands for x coordinate. So what I do here, any one coordinate you can take, students. I take the x as -3 and y as 5, and I substitute here. Look here. So what I did for the third part, I wrote the equation, but I am taking my points as -3 and 5, where -3 will be x and y will be 5. Even if you take this point B, my dear students, still you will get the same answer. The reason is that for AB, any one point taken and substituted in the formula will give you the same answer. So y here is 5. I just now got m as -5. I write here m as -5 into x. What is the value of x? -3 plus c. Just see what I have done here. I took the point A and I took its x and y coordinate. Why I did not write this time x1, y1? Because x1, y1 is written only when I have to find the gradient. So here what I do, I just write x and y and I substituted. There were four variables y, m, x and c. But as I found out gradient and as I took x and y, this and this, I already knew. So which one has to be found out? C, which is called as the y-intercept. So once I solve it, I will get C. So I get phi is equal to minus 5 into minus 3 gives you 15 plus C. Plus 15 goes that side, becomes 5 minus 15 is C. Therefore, C is equal to minus 10. And I write here minus 10. Okay. Now the fourth step. I write the general equation once again. So for finding the equation of the line from the coordinates, I wrote the general equation twice. In the third step I substituted just to get the value of C. But in the fourth step now, when we write the general equation, we just substitute the value of M and C. So this gives me y is equal to M is minus 5. We don't substitute X. And as C is minus 10, plus into minus, that gives me y is equal to minus 5x minus 10. This is the equation of the line. So I have divided it into four parts. If you look at this video carefully, just go through the video twice and you will understand, my dear students. Okay? Next, taking one more example, let us see the point A 1 comma 1 and phi minus 1 lie on the line L. Find the equation of the line. First part is always write 1 comma 1 and phi comma minus 1. Never skip the step x1, y1, x2, y2. My first step is to find m. M is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is the formula you need to remember. Second step, substitution. I always emphasize on writing the formula and showing all the steps. Even if you feel this is irrelevant, I can do it directly. Still, my dear students, if by chance your final answer is wrong, you may get marks for steps. That's the reason I always emphasize on writing the steps carefully and all the steps. So Y2 here, oh, Y2 here, please be careful. Y2 here is minus 1. Sorry. And again, Y1 is 1 divided by x2 is 5, which I wrote up. Sorry for that. And x1 is 1. So this gives me minus 2 divided by 4. I divide it, I get minus half. So I have got m as half. Again, draw a line and divide it into two parts, okay, so that it's easy for you. The second part I take 1 comma 1 and I write x and y. And this time I write y is equal to mx plus c. Okay, what I do? I substitute the value of y as 1. M I have already got as minus half, which I am not going to write now, going to write as minus 0.5, and x is 1 plus c. So 1 gives me minus 0.5 plus c. Minus 0.5 goes that side, becomes plus 0.5, and I get c as 1.5. Once I get this, what I do? I write the general formula again. But in the final step, when I write the general formula again, I told you, my dear students, I will just substitute now the value of m and c. So y is equal to minus, you can write half also, okay, minus half x plus 1.5. This is my equation. So in the final step, remember, I will not substitute any coordinates. What is the reason? Because I don't have to find anything now. I just have to find gradient. I just have to find the y-intercept. The meaning of y-intercept also I'll explain in the coming example. Now, they have already given you the equation and they are asking find the gradient and the y-intercept. Very easy, my dear students. Y is equal to 3x plus 4 is the equation given. And I had just now told you the general formula for graph is y is equal to mx plus c. If you compare this, y and y are same, x and x are same. So m, I get the place for m is 3 and the place for c is 4. I directly get the answer. So remember, my dear students, when they have given you the equation, just compare it with the general formula and whatever is in the place of x, before x, that becomes your m, and whatever is after x along with the sign becomes your c. So here they just asked m, so m is 3 and I will write here c is 4. This is how, when the coordinates are given, you find the equation of the line, and when equation is given, you find the gradient and coordinates. Now look here. One more example, when they have given you the graph, they have drawn, and we have to find the equation of the line. Now this is the second part or the second type. The first type was when they had given you the coordinates, my dear students. And the second type is when they have given you the graph, they have already drawn the line. Okay, we are also going to learn how to draw the graph. Now they have given you equation. As I was always telling you, the general formula was y is equal to mx plus c. This is a permanent general formula where m is the gradient. Now everybody is aware. M is the gradient. X and y are the coordinates. What is this c? I have been again and again using the word y-intercept. What is the meaning of this y-intercept? It is that point of intersection where this line is meeting the y-axis. So if you look here, this line, I'm drawing it again, crosses the y-axis carefully, if you can see, at 1. So when the graph is given, directly you get the first answer. C is equal to 1. You don't get the gradient first. You get C is equal to 1. That's straight. When the coordinate was given, we had to find out C by using this formula. But here, y-intercept is nothing but the red line cutting the y-axis at a certain point. And this point here is 1. So I directly get C is equal to 1. So my first step is getting C is equal to 1. Means you have to check in the graph, on the graph paper, and check whether the line is cutting the y-axis at which point. What will be the second point? Second point is that take any one coordinate which lies on the line. There are many coordinates. This is one coordinate which lies on the line. This is the one, and this is the one. You will always take the border ones. You don't take in between because you don't know where it will lie on x-axis and where it will lie on y-axis, my dear students. But if I take at the border, you can see here, border, say if I draw a line here, exactly I know it's 2 comma 5. I am getting the coordinates. What is the second step? Second step is to find the coordinate of any point. But do remember, I have to use a point on the line, not outside the line. I cannot take this point 4 comma 3. Why I cannot take? Because this point is not lying on the line whose equation I have to find out. my dear students? So I took a point 2 comma 5 which is lying on the line. I hope you have understood. Now I write this as x and this as y. The third point is I write the general formula. Y is equal to mx plus c. I don't take here the gradient formula because I have another easy method to find the gradient when the equation of the line is already drawn. What I do, I substitute y as 5, m I don't know, x is 2, and m I don't know, and c I got as 1. Now what I do, I take plus 1 this side. This becomes 5 minus 1 is 2m. M is equal to 4. 2m is equal to 4 and m is equal to 4 upon 2. I get m is equal to 2. This is a method by which I directly get gradient without using the formula y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. The next step, the last step, y is equal to mx plus c. No need to say. You will now substitute only m and only c. So y is equal to m is 2, 2x and c is 1. This is my equation. How I come to know this equation is correct? I took the point 2 comma 5, but now I am taking 1 comma 3. I am taking a new equation just to confirm my answer. Whatever equation I have got, there I will substitute. This is my point A, 1 comma 3, where I will substitute only the value of x. So if I take x as 1, when I substitute this x as 1 in the equation, I should get y as 3. If I get y as 3, that means my equation is correct. Let us see. Y is equal to 2 into 1 plus 1. So 2 ones are 2 plus 1. Y is 3. Yes, y is 3. So that means my equation is correct. Okay. Let me take one more example just to revise with you. Yes. They have given this, work out the gradient, but I am going to find for this equation, for the line, I am going to find the gradient also and the equation also. First step, check where this point is cutting the y-axis. You can see here, this is the point. I hope everybody understand, because the line will cut on y-axis at any one point. It may not confuse you by cutting on 2 points. Remember, my dear students. So here directly I get c is equal to minus 1. First step. Second, take any one point on the line. Here I take this point. You can take this also. So this is, if I join it, it meets x as 1 and y at minus 3. So I write 1 comma minus 3. This becomes my x. This becomes my y. Okay. So my third question is, y is equal to mx plus c will be my general equation. Why I do this? Because now I have got y, I have got x, I have got c. I can get m easily. So y will be minus 3. I substituted. M I have not got. X is 1. So 1 into m is 1m and c is minus 1. Once I bring minus 1 this side, it becomes plus 1. So m is equal to minus 3 plus 1 gives minus 2. I got the question. I found out the answer for this question. Now, last step. Last step is, before finding the equation, y is equal to mx plus c, in which I will just substitute m and c. M is minus 2 and c is minus 1. How to check whether this answer is correct? I will take this point which I didn't take. Here, x is minus 2 and y is 3. So let me see, once I substitute x as minus 2, am I getting y as 3? Let us check. Minus 2 into this x I will get from here. See, from this point. Minus 1. Minus into minus plus, 2 2s are 4. 4 minus 1, I am getting y as 3. Is this the coordinate? Yes. The y coordinate is 3. This is how you come to know that this equation is correct. Okay. Now, for this question, suppose they give you the line like this and they ask you the equation of this line. This line is only passing through x-axis at 1. So for a standing line, vertical line, the equation you can write it directly. X is equal to 1. Suppose it passes here. So it is between minus 1 and minus 2. This point is minus 1.5. So x is equal to minus 1.5. So for vertical line, you don't have to use the formula y is equal to mx plus c, because you have only one point and that is only your equation. Now you'll ask me, sir, if this was cutting the y-axis, what would be your answer? Let us check. If this line is cutting the y-axis, you should see where it is cutting the y-axis, at 8. So my answer, y is equal to 8. That's it. Suppose it is cutting here. It's between minus 4 and minus 6. So half of minus 4 and minus 6 is minus 5. So y is equal to minus 5. This is how we find the equation of the line. Is that clear? The drawing part will be done in the second video. Comment me and tell me whether did you find this video useful. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you very much. Take care. God bless.